been a while. I'm joking, it hasn't been a while. It's been 1 week. Okay, so another day, another video. Now today's video is a part of a series. That series is Flib to Fit. This is episode 2. Now in the last episode, the first episode being, we pretty much just covered how it all started. Where I came from in my body image journey, my relationship with food journey. Pretty much I encompassed everything from youth to adolescence. Now I did preview that the last video was how I started, and this video is going to be all about food and pretty much also encompassing body image and what that looks like and what that has looked like. So let's get to it. We're going to start off with something I want you to recall throughout this video, and that's body neutrality. Now this is more of a newer concept that has been introduced in the last 5 to 10 years pretty much, and let me read the definition word per word because we are not messing this up. But it says that body neutrality, taking a neutral perspective towards your body. You may not always love your body, but you may still live happily and appreciating everything your body can do. So this is more of a shift from the focus of what your body looks like and more of what can your body do for you, and appreciating what it does while acknowledging the fact that every day is not an A day. We're not always on top. Some days we just, for my girls out there during that time of the month, you may not be feeling your hottest. At least I don't. I don't know about y'all. If y'all can still feel your hottest during that time, props to you. Me, not so much. But you're not always gonna feel like a 10. You might feel like a 7. But that's not to say that you can't still appreciate what your body does and what it continues to do for you. So I think that's where the focus of body neutrality is held in. And throughout this video, I am going to be talking about mental health. So this is a disclaimer. I will be talking about body dysmorphia, eating disorders, and such. So if you're not able to view such things, I recommend my other videos. I have fit videos. I have 19 mistakes, 19 years. I have other talking videos. If you're looking for maybe to catch up before you watch this one, honestly you could watch this one first and then watch episode 1, but here it is. Right on the screen, make it easier for y'all. But yeah, let's get to it. So body neutrality. Now the reason why this is going to be its own topic, and the reason why I'm starting off with this, is as I mentioned before, I want you to be able to recall this throughout our conversation, where I'm going to be bringing up different topics and how that relates to body neutrality, and how body neutrality has actually made me my happiest in my relationship with both food and body image actually, and how it's helped me. So taking a neutral perspective towards your own body means moving away from the idea that you have to cultivate love for your body or make an effort to love it every day. Instead, it focuses on what you want to do with your body and how you think and feel. So I think that's really what drew me to this concept more, is moving away from the appeal and that body yaddy yaddy, which is great. We're not saying that you can't have those days feeling yourself and such. Go for it. But on the days where you might not be feeling so hot, or even the days you're feeling 10, actually no, hundreds, you still can have that stance of body neutrality where you're both appreciating the look of it, but also appreciating what it's doing. Every day we wake up, every day for people who work out, y'all, we're pushing the limits of our body every single day. So the fact that it's able to do that, I think sometimes we forget to appreciate that. And I think that's what body neutrality really has its appeal for me, is that aspect of appreciation and gratitude, rather than always just expecting more from our body and expecting, like it's just never ending, honestly. So back to it, the term body neutrality came from the negative effects of body positivity, such as people began to point out that body positivity still emphasizes physical appearance as a component of self-worth. Now, I really resonated with this because I'm a body positive person. I'm not an advocate there. My voice hasn't gone that far out. Would love to be one day. But body positivity at the end still has a focus on your physical appearance, your body, and how it looks. And that still at the end of the day has negative effects because it's still focusing on your self-image being tied to how you look at your body rather than what it does for you and how you feel because of your body. And yeah. But next, with body positivity, it always comes back with the conversation of your body and what it looks like. It always will come back to it. Yes, body positivity has brought us so far in the fact that accepting the fact that not every body may look the same, but it still has that focus on body types, what our body looks like. And that's something that I'm so sorry, not every day I'm trying to hear, okay? Like when I'm in when I'm in my sweats and my sweatpants and I'm comfy, I'm not trying to encapsulate the body. I'm trying to be comfortable in my skin. I'm just trying to be more comfort feels type of thing. Now, body positivity, yes, it does embrace so many more body types and so many more sizes. And because of body positivity, we've come so far into not only accepting but embracing what our bodies look like. And for that, I'm very thankful. And it's a stage that really propelled me to look at my body as a temple, because that's what it is. And see that my body type is literally also what helps me do what I need to do. My body type is made for me type of thing. So for that, I really appreciate body positivity. But with body neutrality, I have had a shift. And that shift is from focusing less on body image, more specifically how our body looks with physical appearance, and more to how I feel in my body, how I'm feeling today, tomorrow, and an appreciation for what my body does, not for what it looks like. So let's get to the first one. Now we're moving from talk about body neutrality to diet culture. Now I know most of us, for the most part, either with people trying to gain weight, lose weight, in some sense, some form of fashion, we've all fallen for diet culture. Now, even as someone who's now fully embraced the gym, I have fallen to diet culture. And you would be curious why. I was never in it to lose weight, but I did become obsessed with protein intake. And I'll put up the term here. It's an actual thing where you fixate on your macros and your protein intake, especially protein intake. And it wasn't healthy for me. But back in the day, woo child, she went through it. The only positive thing I can think of when it comes to diet culture is honestly discipline. Reinforcing the importance of discipline is the only positive. And when I say only positive I can think of, the only, like I sat there and I thought, and this was the only positive I could come up with when looking at the pros and cons. So with that discipline that's being enforced, for some people it's very helpful because it sets the routine and whatnot and implements a fashion where you are looking forward to what you're going to be eating and you're aware of what you're going to be eating. So you don't have to think about, oh, like what am I making? For the most part, a lot of diets have a set schedule and set meals, which does benefit for some people, but it can go to an extreme. Now, such discipline for a lot of diets is more of an extreme where there's no wiggle room, there's no area of freedom, and in many, it finds faults and exploits insecurities that are already there for a lot of people, and it focuses more on the negatives of your appearance and tries to make the conversation of, if you diet, you'll be able to achieve it. Now, that little ad out there has, for many, put them in a spiral situation when it comes to their mental health, and honestly their longevity of a healthy relationship with food. It does mess it up. That's the real aspect of it. Unless you are in a diet that for you find it works for your lifestyle, or it is for health reasons, where this diet helps benefit how your body is, how you process food, even to your energy levels, that's great. But for a lot of us, in the beginning with diet culture, it emphasizes once again how your physical appearance is. And for most people, it emphasizes losing weight. That's just what it is. Growing up, we would be looking at ads where it said slim fast. Now, if y'all know, y'all know. Those little drinks where you could lose weight, even the tablets. And unfortunately, it's something that we all fall into. Actually, I don't want to say fall into, because I don't want it to make it a large majority. But for a majority of us, that is the appeal factor, is the losing weight. You want to look snatched. You want to look... But the thing is, diet culture emphasizes that you don't already look like that. You don't already look great. This talk of the right body is something that diet culture loves to bring about. For a lot of people, it's a skinnier and smaller version of what they already look like. And unfortunately, 98% of diets do fail as a result. And that's because at the end of the day, you can only do so much. Your body structure, your bone structure, the wide set of your hips, the curves you've got, the distribution of fat that your body naturally has, metabolism, these are all things that your body naturally is. And diets not only can sometimes harm that, especially when it comes to metabolism and whatnot, but it can also pretty much ruin your health. It's something that's not healthy because it emphasizes a lot of times smaller portions, very low energy foods is what it wants you to intake, therefore your energy levels a lot of time are lower. It's a recipe for disaster, okay? We'll just say it as it is. Personally, now, I have done intermittent fasting. I've done it when I was in my adolescence, my teenager days, and intermittent fasting looked like this to me. The normal intermittent fasting is you eat, I believe, early in the morning, and then you eat before evening or lunch, and then you're done for the rest of the day pretty much. What my intermittent fasting looked like, I ate one meal in the morning, and sometimes the one meal would be at lunch. Now, a lot of times, because I'm in a household that we eat as a family, what I would do to balance it out is instead of eating breakfast or lunch, I would only eat dinner. Now, I was a growing teen. Like, there's no reason I should have been on pretty much what was a diet. And looking back, I feel really bad for myself, but it is something I had to go through. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had my realization looking in the mirror and seeing how miserable I was. Looking in the mirror and just seeing unhappiness. And intermittent fasting unfortunately did that. It made me unhappy. I am ashamed to say I have fainted twice as a result of fasting. And I know it's because of that, because that was the only thing I was implementing at the time that changed in my routine. So I had extreme lack of energy. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to wake up. I didn't really like going out, not only because I didn't want to be seen out in public, I just didn't have the energy to. When it came to socializing, I would rather be just on my own, quiet, sleep. I would sleep all the time. I would nap. Now that's normal for a teenager, but the extent I was going is I was sleeping anywhere and everywhere. Classes, bus stops, home, ground. Literally, if I was able to sleep, I would sleep, even after dinner. Like, it was brutal. And it's because of my intermittent fasting. And I call it intermittent fasting because I technically can't put it in a category other than that. Eating once a day, not even eating a proper amount. I was eating a smaller portion, and it was no snacks. At one point, I even cut out water. I don't know why. I don't know how my mind was thinking that that was gonna work. Like, if I have less water in my system, I'll lose weight. Babes, it doesn't work that way. It's temporary, it does not work that way. I'm just saying, I've learned, I've experienced it. Lessening your, actually, not intaking water just is trouble. It's not, you won't feel good, you'll get sick. And not only that, you won't lose weight. You'll lose weight for a day, and then it just won't work after that. Now, to continue on, I want to emphasize anti-diet doesn't mean anti-health. And the reason I'm saying that is because you changing your lifestyle, you changing how you eat food, how you even look at food, doesn't mean that you're anti-health, you're an unhealthy person. Indulging every now and then with some good soul food, or even more than that, doesn't mean you aren't for health. But being anti-diet does mean that you don't support the culture of diets. You don't support how diets affect a person, not only mentally, but physically as well. Because a lot of the diets out there all come back to the same thing, your physical appearance. That's the focus. A lot of times it's not to bring up your energy level. It's not to, pretty much that's the only thing I can think of that would be beneficial when it comes to, it's not for dietary reasons. Like, it's not for your health. It's for appearance, and that's what anti-diet represents. You're not for restricting the foods and creating a bad relationship with food just so you think you can achieve a body type, just so you can achieve what you think you should look like, or what you're being told you should look like. Because let's be real, a lot of times that's what it is. We're being told what we should look like, and that makes us feel bad about ourselves. Now, dieting did make me fall into something that a lot of us fall into, body dysmorphia. Now we're about to pull up the dictionary again. This is from WebMD. So the definition of body dysmorphia is, first of all, it's body dysmorphic disorder, BDD, is a distinct mental disorder which a person is preoccupied with an imagined image defect or a minor defect others cannot see. As a result, people with this disorder see themselves as ugly and often avoid social exposure and turn to plastic surgery and try to improve their appearance. This is specifically from WebMD. That's word for word. And common areas of concern are skin imperfections, hair, facial features, and body weight. Now, I want to highlight where it says social exposure, avoiding social exposure. I feel like a lot of people who struggle with body dysmorphia hate going out. And the reason why for a lot of us that they've hated going out, at least for me, is because if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not happy with what I'm seeing, what makes me think I'm going to go outside and people are going to be okay with what they're seeing when they look at me? I think that's, for me, the root of my issue when it came to going out. I was an introvert, but at this time when I was struggling with dieting and whatnot and body dysmorphia, I didn't have an extreme. I had a more minor, I would like to say, I would like to hope, but I was still struggling with it. I didn't want to go out because I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. So what made me think that when I go out and see the people I care about, they will like what they see in me? And if I felt ugly, I thought other people would think I'm ugly. Just a matter of fact. There's nothing wrong with like saying that now looking back, really ridiculous. A lot of people really didn't give a 2 cents about that stuff, and honestly at the end of the day they weren't looking at just me as a person, my physical appearance. They were looking at who I was and my personality, and focusing on body image made me lose sight of that there was more to me than just my appearance. I have an amazing personality, I would like to think. And it was something that I put on that I didn't even think to acknowledge because I was too focused on my physical appearance and not being snatched. So, going back to it. So I feel like body image, honestly, it points down to self-image, manifesting the insecurities to the point of fear. And these are real fears people have. you looking and seeing something that's essentially not how you look in real life, but because you deal with pretty much a mental disorder as such, the image you see in the mirror will always be a distorted image of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're seeing the image you want to see. And that's where body dysmorphia is a real concern, is it doesn't reflect what is actually being shown in the mirrored image. It's reflecting your insecurities. It's reflecting what you hate. Literally, I have a mirror in front of me. I'm not joking, y'all. Let me show y'all. Evidence. Like, I literally have a mirror in front of me. But that is what body dysmorphia is, at least to me. Body dysmorphia can be different for anyone. There is a general definition, but at the end of the day, how you see body dysmorphia and how I see it may not be as parallel as we would think. Because at the end of the day, we don't see things the same. So, moving on. Now, last thing I want to point out with body dysmorphia is it wrecks one's relationship with food, and sometimes is the cause of it. Now, sometimes body dysmorphia is what leads to eating disorders for a lot of people, or eating disorders are what can trigger body dysmorphia. It plays hand in hand, and that's where the danger of it lies, is it leads you into a rabbit hole of not only an unhealthy relationship with food, with how you view yourself, but also a rabbit hole of mental health issues. And that's not something that people want to deal with. At least I would hope you would not want to deal with it, because I know I definitely don't. This is something I'm very passionate about, and that is how media outlook on body types and what is expected for bodies and what we should look like, how we should act. That's something that's always been a conversation. Now, being a female, being I want to say culture, because if I say colored, I know I'm too light to be considered that area, but being just a female, being a male, there's always expectations on how we should act, how we should look. Especially when it comes to females, our bodies have always been a point of conversation. Whether it be through Twitter rants, Twitter fights, Instagram comments, honestly, any platform I can imagine, a person's body is always being highlighted. And a lot of times, it's not in the positive sense. Now, thankfully, throughout the last 5 to 10 years, there are a lot of pretty much influencers or celebrities who have come out and said, this is me, this is how I look. I don't need you to be happy about it. I don't need you to be okay about it, because it's not your body. It really isn't. At the end of the day, what I look like is none of your concern underneath here. And I feel like that's something that people tend to forget, because in this day and age, we are in everybody's business but our own. Like, what? That's the crazy thing to me. The fact that we can so easily have an opinion about someone else, because it's always easier to think of someone else, to throw shots at someone else, because you don't have to self-reflect. It's easier to project than it is to reflect, because at the end of the day, if you're reflecting, you need to admit some stuff. We got demons inside us that we gotta admit, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to admit their faults, their problems. It's not something that we want to deal with. Now, as I said before, Slim Fast Drinks was advertised in the past. A lot of people who grew up with me, I am now 20, we were used to the magazines with those very thin, stick-thin women showing how beautiful. We were being told that what was beautiful was a skinny girl. That's what it is. We were being told that a girl with a thigh gap was beautiful. I am not genetically made for a thigh gap, okay? Thunder thighs is what I was born with. And thunder thighs is what I will die with. I will never have a thigh gap. I've tried to have one. It doesn't work. I have wide set hips. I'm never going to be skinny, thin model. I'm never going to be thin. And that's okay. I don't want to be. Like, it's great for people who already are. Good for you. Live your best life, your skinny life. But I'm not. I've gone through times where even my lowest, I wasn't considered skinny even back then. Honestly, social media at the end of the day is just that. It's social media. It's media for people to be social on. And the only thing I can say is follow people who look like you, watch people who look like you, and that's not to say you might have a guilty pleasure watching the Kardashians. Now, the infamous Kardashians are what brought up the whole body type. And there's nothing wrong with that. They have great personalities. They're businesswomen. Honestly, they're amazing. They do great. And they do great for themselves. Now, the image that they have perceived, especially Kim Kardashian, with what nowadays is what the appealing body looks like, it's not realistic. A lot of these celebrities, a lot of these influencers with those body types, unfortunately, they have used means of plastic surgery to achieve it, or have pretty much, even as Victoria's Secret has shown us, starved themselves to reach that achievement of what they were told to look like, or in Kim Kardashian's case, what she wanted to look like. And good on her for her businesses, but honestly, the fact that that body type has been implemented into our youth today, unfortunately, is going to affect a lot of future youth. It's affected the amount of people getting BBLs now. The amount of people doing plastic surgery skyrocketing. And we do have social media to an extent to thank for that. And that might be great business for them, but for people dealing with those body insecurities, a lot of times people who undergo plastic surgery, they don't really stop just at that. They will continue to keep going because they'll find something wrong each time. And that's just a matter of fact for a lot of people. For a lot of people, yes, they'll just go in for one thing and be done with it. Good on you for that, but you will need to do upkeep if you're doing Botox or whatnot. For implants, there are revisions that sometimes need to be made. For BBLs, you might lose after the swelling goes down, and it might not look the way you want to. And for a lot of people who go back in for revision surgeries, the main concern is this is not what they expected going in. And because at the end of the day, what they're expecting for a lot of people was unrealistic. It's something that cannot be achieved in a normal looking fashion. It's very extreme. And that's what the Kardashians, their body type is extreme. And when I say the Kardashians, my main focus is Kylie and Kim Kardashian, and even Khloe. How wide set the hips are in proportion to their waist, in proportion to their legs, it's not realistic. And in Kim's case, it might be the extreme of that. But the main point isn't focusing on what their body looks like. It's focusing on the effects of what it's telling millions of youth out there of what they should look like, instead of telling them the storyline of they look okay. And that's not the Kardashians' responsibility. They will put what they want to put out there. That is their choice. It's not their job to put out an image that is supposed to be appropriate to youth, because that's not their demographic. That's not what they're appealing to. And they have every right to do that. I'm not out here bashing what the Kardashians look like. I'm here acknowledging the fact that the Kardashians, especially Kim Kardashian, as I've said repeatedly, the image that she has put out there into the world hasn't benefited a lot of youths, in the sense that it has created a lot of insecurities for young girls out there, even for women. I'm 20 years old, and when I look at the Kardashians, I'm like, damn, that is something I'll never be. But now looking at that, I'm like, damn, good on her. But if I look in the mirror, I'm still like, damn, I look good. Like, there's nothing wrong with the way I look. And that's the thing with social media at the end of the day. And unfortunately for young people out there, social media is not beneficial. A lot of times it hurts more than it benefits. Yes, it does bring you exposure to a whole different world, pretty much. But a lot of times the world that you're being exposed to affects them negatively, in the sense that what is being shown, what is being advertised, the messages that are being put out there are a lot of times not positive. There's more negative stuff out there than there is positive. And the reason being, negative stuff get put out more. People will watch some good tea rather than watching someone say, oh my gosh, go you, girl power, or you guys are rocking it. Like, that's not what people are interested to now. That's not what people are interested in nowadays. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, just acknowledging the fact that this, at the end of the day, is social media. And the fact that a lot of these things are edited. A lot of these pictures that you're watching are edited. A lot of these, even videos nowadays, you can edit them so well. Like, I'm very surprised. I don't know how they did that, but they did that. But continuing on, my personal favorite topic, what healthier living looks like in African households. Now, I can only speak for myself. I have grown up in what I want to say is a traditional Habesha household, in the sense that the food we eat is very traditional. I would say half of the week we're eating traditional foods, the other half we're eating more Western, but there's some hiccups there, because there will be times where we actually don't eat traditional food for a little bit, and then we'll go really deep in on it. When we're fasting as such is usually the time where we eat our traditional Ethiopian food the most. Now, with all these beautiful aromatic spices and these hearty looking meals, a lot of meals for Ethiopian cuisine is carb filled. There's always a carb you're eating with it. For us, that's injera, which is literally the food that we wrap the food in. I'll put an image up on here so it explains it better. The brown part is injera, and then we have like these little portions, not little, we have portions of other parts that we put in the injera, and then that's how we eat our food. So we do eat our food by hand. And I want to emphasize the fact that the food tastes amazing. But for someone who's trying to do healthier eating, the oils that are used in foods is not always the most ideal. And now where I'm at with my diet, I'll just say this straight up, I eat what I want. I eat foods that I like to eat. I do eat healthier because that's how I grew up. Even when we were eating Western foods, a lot of times, yes, it's very hearty foods, but it's healthy. The foods were made from scratch. There was no preservatives really added. And that's something that's continued on to my adult life. The food I eat, by the way, I live with my parents, and my mom cooks. Chef's kisses. She is a chef in herself. Like, I'm eating restaurant quality food, you guys. But I want to emphasize the fact that for a lot of us, African households do have a culture where we're sharing our food. A lot of times that's done through feeding each other, and that's where the way we show affection. We feed our loved ones. The only thing is, if you are trying to lose weight or what, foods as such might not be the most ideal, in the sense that yes, the foods are being made with a lot of oils. The food is very carb filled. Like, that's really what makes it filling, is the carbs. Yes, I eat with meats, but the thing is, I eat food from like vegetables to meats to fish, and it's a well-balanced diet. And that's what it is at the end of the day. That's what I eat, a well-balanced diet. Because with body neutrality, this is the food that gives me the fuel to do what I need. And unfortunately, when I was doing intermittent fasting, I wasn't eating. I avoided getting fed, and it distanced me from not only my culture but my family, because the way we show affection is by feeding each other, by adding more food on each other's plate. It's pretty much a cultural love language, in a sense. And by denying that, I was denying my identity, because at the end of the day, this is who I am. I'm Habesha. I love the food. Like, literally thinking of it makes me smile, but I'm just very much more appreciative because I have the sense of body neutrality. And now when I look at this food, it's just food. It's food that fuels me. It's not food that's going to add to my weight. It's not food that's going to affect how I look. Now, I will feel a good food coma afterwards because, like I said, it's very filling, the food. But I'm happy. I honestly, a lot of times when I work out in the evenings, I work out after I eat dinner. Not to work it off, but to fuel my workout. That's when I do my heaviest sets, is after I eat a good amount. If I work out in the mornings, my workouts tend to be lighter because I don't have as much energy, even with taking pre-workout. And I feel like that's what affects it, is me eating the amount I'm eating before the workout. Make sense? Makes sense. But yeah, I want to highlight this. My relationship with food was negative. But the thing is, my relationship with food always aligned to my self-image. When I had a positive self-image, I honestly had a positive relationship with food. I wasn't restricting myself. I wasn't overwhelming myself with cuts and increasing my intake, or overwhelming myself with the amount that I thought I needed to eat because I was trying to bulk up. At the end of the day, my self-image tied to my relationship with food. And I think that it is applicable for many others out there. And I just thought of it at the top of my head, so I'm proud of myself. But when I maintained a self-image where I'm not only confident in my skin but also feel great, I opted to eat portions that was filling without restricting myself and fueled my everyday ventures, even if I was just chilling at home. Because at the end of the day, food is what fuels our body. That's its job. When we consume food, its main job is to fuel us. It's to fuel what we need to do, what we need to achieve, what we need to push ourselves to do, what we need to relax. And it's what keeps both our mind and our body functioning. And I think sometimes we look past that because we're too focused on what our body image should be, what our body image is being told to be. We tend to forget that area. And I just want to put it back out there that, you guys, food is good. Food is good for y'all. Like, it's good. You want to eat. You don't not want to eat. Because at the end of the day, if you don't eat, you're going to feel all these health issues. You're going to feel lethargic. You're just not going to feel well. So, to avoid that, eat food. Honestly, it brings down to how I now view food. It's something that fuels me. It's what fuels me to do what I want to do in life. And for that, I'm thankful. Now that pretty much closes out the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want more of this, comment it down, because I have ideas and I have a general layout of what I want this series to look like, but I don't think there will be much of an end in sight anytime soon, because this is something that's going to be ever developing in my life. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please like, and if you have pointers out there for anyone else, comment it down below. Like, we're all here to learn at the end of the day. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of content coming your way. Literally as I just recorded before this. If you know, you know. But yeah, if you want to see more of me, check out my Instagram, because that's where I'm most active. I also have a TikTok and a Pinterest account. It's cute or whatever. It's honestly my photo dump. But yeah, so I'm so thankful y'all stuck with me to the end. If you want to check out the last video, it's going to be and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.